Some people possess unusually high emotional awareness. They don't just hear words. They notice emotional energy, hidden tension, body language, facial expressions, and psychological inconsistency that most people completely overlook. This is often why powerful empaths struggle socially. People assume emotionally intelligent individuals naturally attract many friends and build strong social circles. But psychology suggests something very different. Because the deeper someone understands emotions, the harder it becomes to tolerate emotional dishonesty. Powerful empaths notice things most people ignore: fake kindness, passive aggression, manipulation hidden behind politeness, resentment hidden behind smiles, jealousy disguised as support. They often sense emotional shifts before anyone says a single word. Even when someone pretends everything is fine, the empath can still feel the tension underneath. Over time, constantly sensing emotional contradiction becomes mentally exhausting. Many empaths begin feeling emotionally drained in social environments where people wear masks just to fit in or gain approval. Conversations start feeling shallow. Relationships begin feeling performative instead of genuine. And because empaths naturally absorb emotional energy, they often carry emotional stress that doesn't even belong to them. This is why many powerful empaths slowly withdraw from social environments. Not because they dislike people, not because they think they are superior, but because emotional inauthenticity slowly drains their mind, emotions, and nervous system on a very deep psychological level. Highly emotionally aware people process emotional information far more deeply than average individuals. Powerful empaths unconsciously analyze tone of voice, emotional reactions, facial expressions, pauses in conversation, and even subtle shifts in energy that most people never notice. They quickly sense when someone's words don't match their behavior. They notice forced smiles, hidden frustration, emotional distance, and tension beneath polite conversations. Even in calm environments, powerful empaths are constantly reading emotional signals beneath the surface. And because this happens automatically, they rarely get a mental break from it. They absorb emotional atmospheres without even trying. If a room feels heavy, anxious, angry, or emotionally fake, the empath feels it almost immediately. Psychologically, this creates emotional overstimulation. While most people can ignore negativity or emotional tension for long periods of time, powerful empaths struggle to disconnect from it emotionally. Their nervous system continues processing emotional energy long after social interactions end. This is why crowded places, loud environments, or emotionally chaotic people often exhaust them mentally and emotionally. It's not social weakness, it's emotional overload. Their mind is constantly processing hidden emotional information beneath the surface, even during normal conversations. And eventually, that level of emotional sensitivity becomes overwhelming. This is why many powerful empaths need isolation, silence, and emotional distance just to mentally recover from the emotional weight they carry every single day. Powerful empaths naturally make people feel emotionally safe. They listen deeply, show understanding, and create comfort without judgment. Unlike most people, empaths don't immediately criticize emotional pain or vulnerability. They try to understand what someone is feeling beneath the surface. This is why emotionally wounded people are naturally drawn toward them. People who feel broken, misunderstood, lonely, or emotionally unstable often sense emotional safety around empaths almost instantly. The empath becomes someone they can vent to, rely on, and emotionally lean on during difficult moments. But over time, this often creates unhealthy relationship dynamics. The empath slowly becomes the emotional caretaker in almost every friendship or relationship. They absorb other people's trauma, carry emotional burdens that were never theirs to hold, support everyone during emotional chaos while silently neglecting their own emotional needs. And because powerful empaths are naturally compassionate, many of them continue giving emotional support long past the point of exhaustion. But eventually something painful happens. They realize many people around them never develop the same emotional depth, loyalty, or care in return. The empath is always available for others, but rarely emotionally supported themselves. This creates emotionally one-sided relationships that slowly drain the empath mentally and emotionally. And eventually, emotional burnout takes over. People who constantly overgive emotionally often become exhausted, detached, and socially withdrawn over time. This is why many powerful empaths suddenly disappear from friendships after years of carrying emotional weight for everyone except themselves. Powerful empaths experience betrayal very deeply on a psychological and emotional level. Because emotionally sensitive individuals form intense emotional attachments, emotional pain affects them far more strongly than most people realize. When empaths trust someone, they often do it completely. They invest emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even spiritually into relationships. That is why betrayal cuts so deeply for them. Being manipulated, lied to, emotionally abandoned, used during difficult moments, or constantly taken for granted slowly changes them internally. At first, many powerful empaths try to understand the behavior. They forgive repeatedly. They make excuses for people. They continue giving chances even after being hurt. But over time, repeated emotional disappointment begins affecting the nervous system and emotional stability of the empath. The brain slowly develops emotional self-protection as a survival response. The empath becomes more selective, more cautious, more emotionally guarded. They stop trusting words so easily, stop opening up quickly, and stop allowing everyone access to their emotional world. This is not emotional coldness. It is psychological adaptation after repeated emotional pain and betrayal. Eventually, powerful empaths realize that constantly ignoring red flags only leads to emotional exhaustion. So they begin protecting themselves in ways they never did before. And many people completely misunderstand this transformation. They assume the empath became distant, arrogant, or emotionally unavailable. But in reality, the empath simply learned that protecting their peace is necessary for emotional survival. Emotionally sensitive people often require solitude to recover from emotional overload. For powerful empaths, silence becomes healing in a way most people never fully understand. Solitude allows their nervous system to finally rest after constantly absorbing other people's emotions, stress, negativity, and emotional energy throughout daily life. Many powerful empaths spend years surrounded by emotionally draining people without even realizing how deeply it affects their mental state. They carry conversations in their head for hours, replay emotional tension repeatedly, and absorb emotional atmospheres long after leaving certain environments. This is why many powerful empaths genuinely enjoy being alone. Not because they hate people, not because they want isolation, but because solitude feels emotionally safe and psychologically peaceful. No emotional games, no fake loyalty, no manipulation, no forced conversations, no emotional chaos, just silence, clarity, and peace. Over time, many empaths begin realizing that protecting their emotional well-being matters far more than maintaining shallow social connections that constantly drain their energy. This realization changes them deeply. They stop chasing approval from emotionally unavailable people, stop forcing friendships that feel one-sided, stop tolerating people who only appear during moments of convenience. And from the outside, it can suddenly seem as if the empath has become distant, cold, or detached. But internally, something very different is happening. They are finally learning emotional boundaries. They are protecting their peace. And for the first time in a long time, they are choosing themselves instead of constantly sacrificing their emotional energy for everyone else. One painful reality for powerful empaths is that they often feel emotionally disconnected from society itself. Even when surrounded by friends, family, or large social groups, many empaths still experience a deep sense of emotional loneliness that is difficult to explain to others. This happens because most relationships remain on the surface level. Many people bond through entertainment, convenience, social status, or temporary emotional comfort. But powerful empaths crave something much deeper. They seek emotional depth, honesty, vulnerability, and genuine human connection. They want conversations that feel real, emotional authenticity instead of performance, mutual understanding instead of shallow interaction. But modern social culture often rewards emotional masks rather than emotional truth. People learn to hide emotions, pretend they are okay, avoid vulnerability, and maintain relationships that look healthy on the outside while feeling emotionally empty underneath. Powerful empaths sense this immediately, and over time, this creates emotional isolation. Even while surrounded by people, they still feel emotionally unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. Many empaths spend years trying to explain the depth of what they feel, only to realize that most people experience relationships on a completely different emotional level. This is why powerful empaths often feel mentally exhausted in social environments that lack emotional honesty. Because very few individuals truly understand the intensity, emotional awareness, and psychological depth at which powerful empaths experience human behavior, connection, and relationships. And eventually, many empaths stop searching for people who merely hear them and begin searching for people who genuinely understand them emotionally. The truth is, powerful empaths often have fewer friends, not because they are antisocial, but because they experience emotions, relationships, and human behavior on a much deeper psychological level than most people around them. Their emotional awareness allows them to detect manipulation, emotional inconsistency, fake intentions, and unhealthy relationship dynamics very quickly. They notice when energy changes, when loyalty feels forced, when kindness is performative instead of genuine. And after years of emotional disappointment, betrayal, and emotionally one-sided relationships, many powerful empaths begin valuing peace more than popularity. Yes, loneliness affects them deeply. They still crave connection. They still desire understanding, loyalty, and emotional closeness. But losing themselves emotionally affects them even more. This is why many powerful empaths eventually stop chasing large social circles or trying to fit into relationships that constantly drain their mental and emotional energy. Instead, they begin searching for emotional safety, honesty, maturity, and genuine human connection. They become far more selective about who they allow into their emotional world. And if they cannot find real connection, they would rather walk alone than remain surrounded by people who slowly damage their emotional well-being. Because powerful empaths eventually realize something life-changing. Being alone is painful sometimes, but being emotionally drained, misunderstood, manipulated, and disconnected in fake relationships is even more painful. And that realization changes the empath forever.